Hey guys, thanks for joining the Elseway TN. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, ask all the good questions. We really appreciate it. Even bad questions, whatever. But I have one of my daughters with me, Maya. Look, I'm doing it backwards. And then back in the back, which doesn't really want to be on camera, he's being shy, is my husband because he is a big part of this. And what we wanted to get on and talk about tonight is prepping your garden. So we get a lot of questions. All of us, when we go, we can be at a wedding and we get a million questions. We can be what do you do?
Change this chat.
Okay. We can be at a wedding. We can be at the grocery store running to people. They're like, how do y'all grow all that? What do you do? How do you can it? What do you put up? Just how do you do it all? So we all work full-time jobs. So it's hard. But sometimes we enjoy it. At the end of summer, we enjoy everything we put up. And then all year long, we enjoy eating it. So, is it worth it? Is it worth it?
To us, it is. Me, because I know what ingredients are in the things that I'm feeding my family.
Right. So that's a big thing, is that when we're canning stuff, we don't have to add a lot of additives and things like that. But we'll get to that in a minute. As far as canning things, if you hot water bath it or if you pressure can it, things like that. So we'll get to that in a minute. But first, I want to start off with the basics. And we live in Middle Tennessee, right north of Nashville, about 18 miles north of Nashville. So we can tell you what happens here. And we can tell you a little bit what happens probably in Florida because we have grown some gardens in Florida before. But as far as what we're talking about and the way we talk about when we plant it, when we harvest it, all that, it's Middle Tennessee. So that'll kind of give you a range of what you need to do in your area if you're not in Middle Tennessee. So first thing we do is prepare the dirt. And where we're at, we have a lot of clay. We actually, do we have clay before we brought in all the clay?
Yeah.
Okay, so we built a big garage and in apartment area, and we literally, was it 35 or 45?
I think it was 35.
Like 35 dump trucks load of dirt to level this out. It was, I want to say it was 45. It was a lot, but then we ended up with a lot of clay. So we had more clay than what we had. Plus we deal with rocks. So that's a whole thing too. We've been here how many years? 34 years.
6, isn't it?
No, 34. Devon's
Yeah. So we've been here 34 years. Next year be 34 and a half years. Anyways, there's rocks everywhere. We still find rocks. So it used to be funny when the kids would get in trouble. They'd go outside and pick up rocks. For my husband punished them and make them pick up rocks.
So. You had to pick up so many wagons of rocks.
Depends on what the punishment was or what they did wrong. But anyways, we still have tons of rocks. So every year when my husband gets out there and plows and is it plowing or tilling?
Till.
We plow.
Yeah, so he starts with the plow first. I always get it backwards, and starts working the dirt. Still gets rocks. So this year he kind of did something different, made a little screen, and literally ran almost all the dirt through that screen to get rid of the rocks. And the big rocks, yeah. So we still have little rocks. So that's the whole thing. And I'm like, just plant it in the rocks, so keep the weeds down. But apparently he believes that stuff won't grow if it's all in rocks. So anyways, he gets rid of the rocks.
The rocks are rough on my tiller.
Yeah, also the rocks are rough on the tiller apparently. So he plows it, he would scoop it up, he'd run it through a grate that he built, and then he would, get some finer dirt, put it back in. What else did you add this year to the dirt?
I added sand.
Okay, so this year we just added sand to, what is it?
10 tons.
So he added 10 tons of sand to the garden this year. We did have a smaller garden we normally had this year because we still have a lot of stuff up from last year. So he added sand and any other things like lime or anything like that?
Added lime.
Okay.
That keeps the tomatoes from having bloom rot.
Okay, so he added lime to keep, I don't know if y'all can hear him or not, but he added the lime to keep the tomatoes from having bloom rot. And then what else you add?
That's it.
Okay, and so he just
compost.
So we have a little mini mule. He gets compost from that. Is that it, or did you buy some too?
No, I just use that.
Okay, so we have a little mini mule, and she, Barbara Jean, and she helps with the compost. So he piles that up and then all year long, and then he adds that to the garden also each year. So that really helps. So we don't have to use a lot of fertilizer and things like that. And then what else you do? So we till it really, or we plow it really good, multiple times. You start that early spring.
I start working on it in February, and I work it and do what I have to do and do all my adding. And then in March, we continue that. And then in April, we plant.
Yeah. So he will start early, or in February at some point and through March, and then April, and then you plant. What'd you say?
I plant mid-April.
Yeah. So it just depends. So here we've had snow in April. We've had snow in March. We've had not hardly any rain. We've had lots of rain. So we had to kind of watch that also. This year we were a little late planting the garden, but it just kind of depends on the weather here. Yeah, the rain kind of delayed everything this year, but we had a lot of rain this year. So that kind of delays it. And then we just watch whenever we think the last frost. And normally, isn't the last frost like, what's the rule of thumb? Huh?
Tax day.
Yeah, so the middle of April, tax day, supposedly here is when it doesn't frost. But I've seen it frost later, but it's not a heavy frost. So he kind of watches that. But is it February or March y'all start seeds?
Yeah.
February.
So we have a small, and I have a video up about that. We have a small greenhouse. My husband built it. How big is it?
2 by 4.
Yeah, so it's
With
two.
two levels.
Yeah, it's only 2 by 4, and it's got 2 levels, and it's literally sits on a little metal table that like isn't it
roll around table.
It's like a meat. We use it for
food prep table.
Yeah, food prep table. We use it for when we're doing processing deer and stuff like that. Yeah, thank you. So it sits on that. That's how small it is, and it grows hundreds of plants. So they go, whatever doesn't grow well, or some we just couldn't find seeds for, they'll go buy plants. So there's certain things you do buy plants for, isn't it?
The only thing we had to do this year, as far as plants that we wanted, was some of ours didn't come up great, or we like to double plant. So each row has 25, right, Dad? 25 holes.
Yes.
We put 50 plants in the one row. So you're doubling each hole. And then most things we did 2 rows of. So we had to have 100 plants, healthy plants with some left over.
And so
Of
like
each
we grow, they take the seeds and they put it in, what are those trays called?
Seed tray.
Seedling trays basically.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, seedling, but they're little trays. And then once, are you looking up to see what they're called?
Devin said she
I
can't.
guess you'd call them a starter.
It's not. Mine's the same. Look.
I don't know. Text Jack and maybe ask him what they're doing. So what are they, starter? What did you say? Starters?
Starter trees.
Yeah, like starter trays, but they're smaller, and then so it helps the seed develop and keeps roots kind of compacted. And then once they grow up, you separate them and put them in the bigger trays.
And not every seed is going to come up. So also there's a way to plant the seed, right?
Yes.
So you have to put the seed a certain direction in the soil, which allows it to break out of the shell that's on the seed, and then it can grow. Not all of them are going to come up, so when I was transferring, we would just transfer the ones that had come up, which is why you don't start them in the bigger trays, because it would just take up more room. Like we can start, there's almost 75 holes in a seedling tray, and then we move that to the bigger ones, which cuts it down to like over half. So you only, now she can. You only want to start them in the seedling trays, and then if they come up, then you move the viable plants basically to the larger sections.
So, Devin, what did you do to be able to comment? Because somebody else can't comment either. You'll put that on there for us. Yeah. So then that little greenhouse, we got lights, just grow lights from Amazon, and you put them across.
Blankets.
Yeah, heat blankets. Well, are they for greenhouses or is it for animals?
No.
Okay, so greenhouse heat pads. I mean, there's such a thing. And then they got we got lights, and he has them on a timer, and then he rolls like a plastic wrap and a thermostat, and he rolls a plastic wrap over the greenhouse so it holds some moisture in, and then it just helps grow healthy plants.
We also have our lights, on the timer, so it clicks off and on, and then depending on how fast they're growing, we'll cut it back or add more time of sunlight depending on where they're kind of at the time.
Right, and then once the plants grow, like I said, they transfer it into bigger trays, and then just continue watering them and then until we're ready to plant them. Once it starts getting planting season, he will put them outside and bring them back in and just kind of. You have to acclimate them to outside. So in the sun, if you just set them outside, they will literally just wither away.
Sunburn.
Yeah, they get sunburnt really easy. So he'll put them out just for a couple hours each day and just kind of increase that time until they're used to being in the sun.
Our greenhouse is not like a typical greenhouse where the sunlight can come through the top and it's outside. We keep it inside the garage.
Yeah, it's literally in the garage, and he can roll it around, and like she said, and then but it's with the soft lights, so you to get this bit acclimated to the sun, you do have to put them out a little bit to do that. But it saves a lot of money. It's time at first, but planting them, replanting them, and doing all that. But it does save a lot of money opposed to going and buying plants if you can buy seeds. And you can even if you buy a big pack of seeds, usually if you buy more, it's cheaper. You can freeze them and use them the next year too. And we've done that for
we used some this year from 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and they came up fine.
So they had some frozen for 2 years and used them, and they all came up fine. So that's not that big a deal if you have too many seeds. And then as far as planting, when you plant your garden, how do you space it out? So he spaces it out to where we don't have tomatoes and peppers and jalapenos and okra and everything coming at one time. Plus, like squash, zucchini grow better in the late spring to early summer, and about by July, they get burnt out pretty quick. So that they don't like the really hot sun. So how do you space that so we're not harvesting everything at one time?
Well, I plant squash and zucchini first, and then I plant my tomatoes. Then I plant my peppers, and then I go corn, and then I go
okra.
Last, I'll do okra.
Cucumbers.
And cucumbers about the same time.
Yeah, we literally, the best cucumber harvest we ever had, we have above our fence up on the front part of the property on the side, and he planted them along that. We just kind of threw them on the fence, and because we haven't placed in the garden to plant them, and they literally grew up and over that fence, and we could just go and pick them. It was so easy. So if you've got a little fence that you're not, you don't care, plant your cucumbers on that, and they like growing up a fence. You don't have to worry about building big things for them. Because now this year on the ground, they're not doing as good, but we didn't really plant that many. But and then as far as harvesting them, you want to add something to that, Maya?
Harvesting?
Yeah. Anything to add?
I don't have anything that. Oh, when we put them in the ground, what is the soil that we get? Gardening soil? We buy it in bags.
I use potting soil.
Potting soil. So probably.
There's specific kind that we use. What is it called?
Miracle Grow.
Yeah, Miracle Grow. It's a green and yellow bag.
The ground is just so hard here that we'll take post hole diggers, dig a hole, fill it with potting soil, put the plant in it. That way it provides a pot basically in the ground to water. We'll hand water it, and that way it gets plenty of water, plenty of opportunity to take off, and then we just move on from there.
Yeah. It also makes like a little bowl, so as we're watering it, the water kind of sits with the plant versus watering the entire ground of the garden when we're hand watering versus when we use sprinklers or the rain.
And it was like a Miracle Grow mixture or something. What's it called? Something specific, isn't it?
It's
garden mix.
Gardening soil.
It's like Miracle Grow garden mix or something. But
okay, do you have any tips on keeping herbs in a pot? I don't have a yard, but would like to be able to grow some herbs. That's Mom. Peppers, 5-gallon buckets or gardening bags. They do great.
I love your name, Double Bacon. That makes a lot of sense. It does, really. I understand that. So it's kind of random. I wish I had some really nice raised beds, which they will get built eventually. But for my herbs, because I do dry a lot of herbs, and they're expensive, and I don't mind growing them. I like the smell of them, but I have a little playground for my granddaughter. I literally have pots around that playground. I've got like mint, and this year I grew garlic out there.
One out there
and do what?
The one out there is going
the mint comes back every year, and then I grow a lot of basil, and I grow different types of basil, and I grow them in big, like, what do they call those? One's like a little
Plastic.
whiskey barrel,
Yeah.
but it's plastic. And there's big plastic containers. Make sure you put holes in them. And I do put rocks in the bottom, just maybe like an inch of rocks just to help it drain a little bit. And then I use that same garden soil that they use. Really, I just use whatever I have. And I put some fertilizer in it, like Miracle Grow fertilizer. And then I just let them grow. And I water them. Depends how much it rains here. We've got a lot of light rains lately. So been really good because it's not been too much, but it has been enough each day. And so I haven't had to water them. I think I actually did water them Sunday. So that's what I do. Is that what the question was? Yeah.
Yeah, and then peppers. Dad, you pulled bell peppers or jalapenos in last year?
And then I take the herbs and, like I said, I just layer it with that garden mix, and you can put some mulch on top. They're pretty easy to grow. And then I'll pick them off and wash them really good, lay them out on a towel, let them dry, and then I put them in my dehydrator and let them dehydrate, and then run them through a little, what do you call that? Not a grinder, but the little blender.
Oh,
What is that?
like
Chopper?
a cold chopper.
Yeah, and get it real thin where I can put it in my herb, put it with all the rest of my herbs and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, at the end of the season with your peppers,
That's
you
what
can
I'm saying.
dig those up and put them in 5-gallon buckets, trim them back, and you can keep them in your garage or just somewhere where they don't get too cold. Don't really have to give them a whole lot of light, and you can bring those back out next year and replant them, and they do just fine.
Yeah, a lot of your herbs you can bring in the house if you have them in smaller containers, or you could take them out and put them in a smaller container to bring them in if you have a garage or like in your house with your other plants in your plants,
dormant.
because they don't need a lot of light. But you can bring them in. And he's talking about bringing the peppers in the garage. One year he brought them in the house. So were those jalapenos? Were those little ghost peppers?
Yeah.
So he brought 2 plants in the house and put them next to my house plants. And they lived in the house for the winter just to see if they would keep growing peppers. And they didn't. They kind of went dormant, just like kind of your house plants will do. They won't grow a lot. So you want to make sure you fertilize them really good for you bring them in, whether it's herbs or peppers or whatever. And
But if you replant them when the season comes, they're already halfway.
Yeah.
They're already to the
Already
mature point. They're already grown, so they'll just immediately start producing back peppers versus having to grow the height of the pepper plant then producing.
Yeah. What is Devin saying?
Devin just said with your herbs to pick them often. The more you trim them, the
Yes.
bigger they'll grow.
Yes. So the more, and I'll go through and especially with like basil and stuff and pick all the leaves off the bottom, and they'll come right back and fill out even more. So, and I just, like I said, I just rinse them.
Also, strawberries grow great in a bucket too.
I didn't have to look at my strawberry this year.
My 5-year-old, 6-year-old
Oh, yeah.
strawberry plant.
She had a strawberry
I don't
plant
baby
she
it.
put in a bucket, and it grew like every year. It still comes back, and it's in like a plastic whiskey barrel
It
looking thing.
doubles each year.
And she moved it with her, and it's still growing. I tried those stackable. What were those things called?
It's stackable strawberry towers. I got one as well. I don't have mine stacked because I was worried about the wind blowing them over.
I stacked mine in the beginning on my deck with where my herbs and stuff are at, and because I do grow mostly them out on the deck, and they
Your green foliage came back well with them.
so
though.
yeah, I have a lot of green foliage, but I didn't have a lot of strawberries.
It's also the first year with them, so next year they'll produce. Like my first year, I had 1 or 2 strawberries. The second year, I had more. So
Yeah, and then we've actually tried this year blackberries in containers and buckets, and they did okay. I think they would do better if they were planted, but my husband didn't want to plant them because they get so overgrown and they like just take over. And these were tame blackberries, and so I got maybe a quart size bag full this year from them, and we have how many plants? 10, maybe. Yeah. But they're still like they're kind of dying back now because it's gotten so hot here. It's been like we've had horrible we've had heat advisories like the last couple of days and warnings, and like we have one now until like tomorrow night. So the heat is just getting a lot of stuff right now. But
mine still look okay, but mine are in the shade majority of the day too.
So we had good. I didn't really care for doing strawberries like that because I don't think they did very good.
I think it's the first year, so you've got to give them more years. Because the first year I had mine in a bucket, it did like nothing.
I had them stacked, and then I took them apart, and they seem to be doing better. But I don't think they all get equal sun and stuff like that when they're stacked. But so what do y'all grow in the garden? So let me just add too. I go out there and help pick, and I go out there some, but I don't do that a lot.
Mom does the
So,
inside putting up like portion of the
yes.
garden.
So I grew up where I live in the city. We didn't do a lot of stuff. My dad had a little garden in the backyard, and we lived on the lake, and he grew broccoli and Brussels sprouts and like. My husband was shaking his head because he would never grow that stuff, but he grew stuff like that, and he had his little big garden as a triangle shape because our like the house kind of dropped off like a kind of hill the yard did, and he grew all kinds of stuff. But when I lived with my mom and my stepdad, we didn't garden. They were great gardeners as far as the yard and landscaping and stuff. Our house looked like home and gardens all the time, but I just don't like doing that kind of stuff. I don't mind putting it up and all that. But anyway, so he's kind of the garden man, and I just kind of help where I can. But back to that, what is y'all's ideal for like when you're planting stuff? Like they'll ask me about tomatoes and stuff like that. My grandma planted gardens, and I would go around with her all summer long doing some of her gardens. But
Like, what's my favorite thing?
Bradley's and she always grew a lot of Bradley's, and then we've grown
Bradley's and Romas.
Bradley's and Romas this year. We've done
tomatoes.
We do have
Better
some
Boys.
beefsteaks out there.
Yeah, we've done beefsteaks and Better Boys. We've even had some, and we're not sure how it happened, but we had the yellow, big tomatoes, and they taste just like a tomato. I don't think they have as much acidity in them. But we've had those for a couple years, and it wasn't intentional. So we're not sure if they're crossing with something, or if anybody has any comments about that, that'd be great. But we're not sure they're mixing with something or cross. I call it crossbreeding. But they're those heirloom tomatoes that have less acidity in them. They're what?
Pollinating.
Yeah. So we're not sure about that. So, but we grow mostly Romas and Bradleys, and the Bradleys we do for canning, just canning tomatoes, and then the Romas, which they're not really Romas, they're called something else.
No, they are aromas. When I bought seeds,
I know, but they're a brand. There's a Roma, but it's a different. There's a name of them.
Oh,
Judy said one time what they were called. I can't remember what it was called, but
I just bought Roma tomatoes.
they we use those a lot for salsa and spaghetti sauce and like stuff like that. And I mix them sometimes too. It just kind of depends on what we have coming in when we're making spaghetti sauce or like whatever. And then what else do y'all like to plant?
Yellow squash and zucchini.
Yeah.
And then we've had eggplant. We've had corn. We've had okra. We do all kinds of different peppers. What else do we got?
We like pickling cucumbers and like the
pickling cucumbers.
typical cucumbers as well. Really, that's like our favorite.
And
Those
then,
are our things we do every year.
As soon as we plow up what we got, we're going to do 7 top greens. A bunch of those.
Yeah, the greens will keep. Even our jalapenos last year, the greens and the jalapenos were still coming in October. We had, was that last year or year before?
Last year.
Yeah. So we have jalapenos will start in, they just started coming in now. So we're in the mid-July, which we planted. Yeah, we planted about a month late. So they usually come in about mid-June. And then we have them all the way through October here. If the weather doesn't, get real cold or whatever. And the jalapenos do great. And we make, what did Jada ask? I can't see it.
Yeah. I was waiting we had a stopping point, but she's saying, is it necessary to water bath tomatoes? They have canned for years and never water bath them or water can them. That's what she's saying. It's a bacteria thing, is it not?
So she water baths them or she does not?
She doesn't, but she's saying, is it necessary?
How do you can them if you're not water bathing them or
maybe she just has the tomatoes are hot like they do stewed tomatoes.
Yeah, so tomatoes,
put them in a hot jar.
So tomatoes. Okay, so there's a big debate about it, and that's why this is the main reason this channel is called the Ellis Way TN, because it may not be the right way to you, but that's how I've been doing it for years. So this is how we do it. So same thing, stuff my husband does or my kids do or whatever. It's what works for us. So the thing about canning is it depends on where you live. And back in the day when people were up north, they're in places that are higher above sea level, you have different boiling points. So that also, you have to kind of look at where you're at and check your latitude above sea level? Altitude above sea level. I knew I'd say it wrong. That's why I asked you. What do you think I got you for? And to see what your boiling parts are. So that's the main thing. Now, me, for tomatoes, if I am cold packing tomatoes, and you may be heat packing them, like boiling them first and then putting them in the jar, and it's a little different. But if you're heating your jars, you've got your jars sterilized, you've got everything ready to go, your lids, everything. And you're cold packing your tomatoes, you need to add a little bit of lemon juice. And somebody asked me that a couple of days ago in here too. You need to add a little bit of lemon juice. Some people say they don't like the taste of lemon juice. I guess you could add a little bit of vinegar. I don't know that that would taste any better. Yeah, but it's just literally a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons, depending on what size jars you have. You can kind of look it up. I usually add a teaspoon for pints and 2 teaspoons for quarts, and just a capful. And then I water bath them for 20 minutes. If you pressure can them, it just destroys them. So unless you're doing crushed tomatoes or something like that, it won't leave them whole. It will like overcook them.
That's what we do, boil them and then
Yeah.
can them.
So look, I know your mama's doing old school, and I know I have a friend that her grandmother and her mother canned, and she grew up like helping them can, and they hardly ever hot water bath anything if they cooked it before. So if you get them cooked through and you kill all that bacteria, then the thought is that you don't have to hot water bath
They have
them.
enough acid.
Do what?
They have enough acid too.
Yeah, but tomato. The deal with tomatoes, the tomatoes are right on the line. They don't really have enough acidity to not add something to them. So if you're adding the lemon, or I wouldn't add vinegar, but if you don't like lemon, I don't know what else you could do to add acidity to them. So that's why tomatoes are kind of on the line. Now, if it's green beans, you gotta
no
pressure can them. If it's squash, zucchini, stuff like that. When I make tomato sauce and things like that, then because I cook that tomato sauce down for 2 hours, basically hour and a half to 2 hours, or however long you're cooking it. It's got onions and peppers and all that stuff in it. And I think have I done a video on spaghetti sauce yet? I think I have. So I think that's up. There's several canning videos up, and it's pretty much the same process. But you always want to I have a ball cookbook, and it gives me all the old, like Ball's old school. So it gives you a lot of the old school tips. I do we pressure can the spaghetti sauce or hot water bath? I think I do pressure can it. Hot water bath. Hot water bath that after it's cooked for a long time. Jellies and jams, I do not. I cook the mess out of them, and then add the pectin and all that, and then I add them to jars. I seal them up. The jars are sterilized. I keep my jars sterilized while I'm cooking it. I don't hot water bath it when I'm done. So it just kind of depends on what you're doing. But a ball.
You keep your jars sterilized.
Yeah. So I so if you watch my canning videos, I wash my jars really good with soap and water, even though they're clean.
Scorching hot water.
I wash them. Yeah. I wash them again, and then I put my jars in the oven. And our boiling point temperature here is 225. So I set my oven for 225, and I put my jars in there wet. So and I put a little bit of water in the jars for steam also on them, and I keep them in there till I'm ready to use them. So I'll leave them there at least 10 to 15 minutes before I use them.
Yeah, as we're processing them, we're able to open the oven, grab 4 jars out, fill them, and then grab 4 more.
Right, and then you're adding, if you've got a liquid, like spaghetti sauce, you've cooked it for an hour to 2 hours, and you're pouring
hot liquid in a hot
yes,
jar.
hot liquid, a hot jar. You can't if you keep it in the oven, if you're packing it, like say you're cold packing, so you're fresh packing basically, you set the jars out. It's going to cool off enough pretty quick that you can just put the stuff in it, so it makes it a little bit easier. But it just kind of depends. But there's a Ball cookbook, and I think it's linked in. I was trying to think which video I linked it in. I believe it's in. I don't know. I'll try to add it later. But there's a Ball cookbook, and I actually got one from Amazon, and then I had one that was my grandmother's, and they're pretty much in line, and they're really good source because they have pretty much canning everything, because everybody used to have to can everything. Like they didn't have a choice, just go buy it in the store. So that's we do can a lot of tomatoes. We do spaghetti sauce. We just do stewed tomatoes. We do crushed tomatoes for like sauce and things like that later, just to add to chilies, things like that. We canned tomato basil soup last year, where it's all done. We pull it out, put it something heated up, add a little bit of whipping cream to it, and it's really good. And then what else we did tomatoes last year? I did a
I just did spaghetti sauce.
Chili sauce.
Yeah, last year I just did spaghetti sauce and the tomato basil soup and maybe some stewed tomatoes.
So, and as far as being worried about botulism, when you open that can and if you don't hear it go, make the noise, the pressure noise,
Make
then
it for 'em.
you do
It's
it.
not
What does
noise.
it sound like?
No.
What'd you say?
I said make the noise.
Yeah. So if you don't hear that seal like pop,
Yeah.
then don't eat it. But most of the time, if something spoils, the lid's gonna raise because of the
Or
gases
you'll see it on the
inside,
top of
or you'll
whatever
see it on
the
the
liquid
top.
is.
If there's nothing on the top and it you hear that little seal break when you open the lid, you're good. And it smell, you'll know if it smells bad, especially tomatoes. They're going to smell bad. Believe me, I've had some that have like went bad on the shelf, and you can tell the lid kind of. I keep my rings on mine, and that's Ellis way, so don't give me no crap about it. But I keep the rings on mine, and to me, in case if they,
Stops them from bumping together and popping the seal.
well, exactly, it keeps. That's a good point. There you go. I know I had you for some reason. So if you keep the rings on, keeps them from bumping together and kind of popping that lid. That's a good point. But I normally also do it in case it does spoil. It can't come out of the jar because that seals on it. That rings on it really good. And I'd rather take my chances of having that ring on it for a year to 2 years when I've got it stored, depending on what it is, than to take them off. So I just buy everything gets a new ring. What was the other one?
Double Bacon was leaving and said, enjoy your night, but lots of good information. And then Jada just said, we used some of your salsa tonight for taco night, and it was delicious.
Awesome. And I gave that to you in last Christmas, or did I bring you some since then? I can't remember. But we do a lot of salsa. What was the other thing? I made a chili sauce, and that was an old
so
ball
good.
recipe. It's really good. The kids kind of
I called
compare
it
it to like
Thai
a Thai
chili.
Yeah.
It's like a sweet chili sauce.
And I don't think I've done a video on it yet because I haven't made any. I didn't make any last year, but I'll try to do a video on it. It's really easy. And then what else we can?
Okra.
We've canned deer meat. We've
Well,
canned.
That's the next
So
thing.
so the gardening is talking about the garden part is we can okra, pickled it. I don't can it any other way, only if I'm pickling it. And other than that, I'll chop.
Well, you do it with tomatoes and okra, haven't you?
Years ago, I did that a little bit, but we didn't really eat it. So, you could can tomatoes and okra if you have abundance of it, and then, but you have to be really careful because the okra gets kind of slimy. And then, other than that, okra, I normally we cut it up and we put it. Sometimes I'll take it and put it in a vacuum seal bag and just vacuum seal it raw. You don't have to freeze it beforehand, any of that stuff. You don't have to blanch it. If you're vacuum sealing it, most of the time you don't have to blanch it. I don't. You do what you want, but I don't. It's too much trouble. And then you got to get all the water off of it before you can vacuum seal it. So it just doesn't work out well for vacuum sealing. So I just cut it up raw, put it in the bag, and then I vacuum seal it. And I use that for soups and like for, gumbo and stuff like that throughout the year. We also cut it up. And that person in the background likes it fried. So he puts, what do you put in there? Just like cornmeal and flour. Yes, we did cornmeal flour mixture. Stick it in the bag, shake it up, and then it's hard to vacuum seal it with the flour in it, so we just put it in freezer bags, and then when you're ready to fry it, you just pop it in the hot oil. It crackles a little bit, but it's fine, and it's really good. And then that's all we do with okra, right?
Yeah,
basically. Yeah. So when we pickle it, we do hot and different varieties. Then we set tomatoes, and then squash and zucchini we normally cut up and vacuum seal it. Don't blanch it, do any of that stuff. We cut it up, put it in vacuum seal bags, throw it in the freezer. Sometimes I have canned it. And then what else is there? Peppers. So jalapeno peppers. Well, maybe do green peppers because it's quick. Green peppers, we just slice up, put it, wash them really good, dry them, slice them up either for fajitas or we dice them for soups and things like that. So we do those two different types and just label it, vacuum seal it. We're done with those. With jalapenos, we do a cowboy candy, which I think is one of my first videos I ever put up, wasn't it?
It's
first
the
or second.
best.
First or second video I ever put up was cowboy candy.
Add it to a deviled egg.
What did you call it?
I think I called it something else though.
Cheatham.
Cubs. It was Cubs. It
Hold
was
on,
Cubs. Cubs.
Cubs candy.
Yeah, jalapeno something.
Hold
I don't know.
on.
We're gonna look at it, but it was jalapenos, and they're sweet, and then you cook them down for a while. It takes a lot of heat out of it, but they're really good because it's kind of sweet. I don't like jalapeno. I'm not crazy about jalapenos. I like them in salsa, stuff like that, fresh, just a little bit, and I like them in
No,
poppers.
they're just candied jalapenos, and they were posted a year ago,
Yeah.
and it's the second video.
Yeah, candied jalapenos, and then we do that, and then you can put them on tacos. You put them burritos. What do you eat them on, Terry?
Everything.
Yeah,
I eat them on everything.
He took them to work, and they were like eating them up. They were eating them by the jar.
Cheese.
Cream cheese, a cracker. We were having like events for holidays. We even have some red ones. We do that. Yeah, so you can put them in there. Really good. It's like a hot and sweet kind of thing. And then we just pickle them with some garlic and not really pickle them, just just in vinegar, so you can have them for later on for dips and things like that. And then what else we do with jalapenos?
Hot sauce.
Yeah, so we made hot sauce last year. I have a video up about that. There's a really easy, simple way to make jalapeno hot sauce. You can do small batches, large batches, whatever. It's super easy. And then we also cut them up and have them ready for poppers. I have seen people cut them up, put cream cheese in them, wrap them in bacon, and freeze them that way. So then they're ready to go in the oven. I actually bought some at Buc-ee's like that over vacation, and they were really good. You can add shrimp in them, like sausage, whatever, freeze them, and then all you got is put them in the oven. They're really good. And then what else we can?
Well, we forgot about one, but Jada just reminded me. She said, "Have you ever canned potatoes?" My mom was thinking about us trying that. We saw someone doing it. I started Mom tried it first, and then I tried it dry canning them. I just put some butter and garlic on them so they're plain. Then I can add whatever seasoning, but I threw them in the air fryer because that's probably one of my favorite kitchen appliances, and like crisped them up, and then added barbecue that I had frozen on top of them, and they were so good.
Yeah, I've taken them, and I did mine because it was our first year canning them. I did half with water and then half with, and I have a video up about that, right? Yeah, there's a video up. JD, you might, I don't know if you passed through it, but you might see it. But do what?
I'm gonna look.
Yeah, and so we did two different versions. So you can do dry, and literally you just cut them in butter, put them in your pressure canner, and that's it. Some salt, I think, and then we also added water to top them off, and have taken those and just strained them and put them in a pan with some onion and like bacon grease and cheese and fry them up, and they taste just like fried potatoes if you just sliced them. It's easier and faster to cook.
The only thing I would think about doing them with like what'd you say, water in them,
Mm-hmm.
like where they're not dry canned, is using them for soups and stuff, because then you have the base of like the starchy in it anyways.
But so Maya likes them dry canned. I probably prefer.
There's one video, and it's talking about dry and watered. I prefer dry canned because then I can add them to whatever. The other thing we forgot about for jalapenos was strawberry jalapeno jam.
Oh yeah, we hadn't even got the jams. Gosh.
Added on some cream cheese.
So yeah, we did strawberry jalapeno jam. We did. So I was trying to get through stuff we did in the garden, and that's pretty much what we do in the garden. Yeah. But all year long.
Forget potatoes because we've grown
potatoes we grew last year, and I have a video about that. We actually grew them last year and JD, you could do this at your house. We did them in clothes baskets.
Yeah, laundry basket.
And so, how did you pack the dirt? Tell them how you did them real quick. The laundry basket.
Get you some straw and put it around the perimeter of the basket. Then use that same potting soil that we were talking about, and just layer them in there like 4 layers deep, and keep adding soil. Move the potatoes to the outer perimeter of the basket, and they'll just grow right through the side of the basket.
Yeah. And when
now they're heavy to need water when you do it in a basket.
Yeah, you have to really water because the water drains really fast. But we literally, when they were done growing, once the plant grows up really tall and green and then it dies back, you wait. Is it a week?
It isn't long.
Yeah, you wait maybe a week. Just keep kind of watching them. But it makes the skin thicken up once they dry out a little bit, and then you literally dump the basket over and pick your potatoes out, because we've grown potatoes and sweet potatoes.
Basket in your garden so you can fill all that in.
We've grown potatoes in our garden, sweet potatoes and potatoes, but no one wanted to sit out there and dig them up. And then one year we have hard clay,
so just sit there and dig them up.
So the basket method worked really good for us last year, and we canned quite a bit. But when they go on sale, and like some places will have them on sale, and they'll do like 10-pound bags. You can do it in small batches like that too.
Or you
And
accidentally buy a 10
yeah.
pound bag that you're not
Yeah.
going to use,
but
and then you
all
just
the stores will have 10-pound bags on sale. Grab you a couple, and it's cheaper to do it like that probably than as a grown. So and I like the golden what do they call golden
go.
gold potato,
Yukon
gold potato.
Gold.
Yeah, Yukon Gold. That's what it was. I like those the best to can. Or the
I use
purple.
red potatoes.
Yeah, the red.
I have gotten the what is it, Russ, the brown.
Yeah,
What's it called? Yeah, I got those in a 10-pound or 15-pound bag, and I didn't want them just to go to waste, so I did skin them and then can them, and they turned out fine too.
Yeah, so when we're not doing the garden, we'll freeze fruit. We got some peaches this year. We've already done peaches. We canned peaches, but because when they came in, and then last year we did apples. We bought 2 big bushels of apples and just apples at one time. And then my daughter has a pear tree that has we didn't get the 10th of the pear tree last year. We canned a ton of pears. We made pear sauce. We made pear jam. We made pear
applesauce,
jelly,
like applesauce. Basically.
Yeah, sliced pears, whatever. We got the apples. We made apples, sliced apples, applesauce, apple cider, apple juice, and applesauce, and apple jelly. So
yeah.
we use all the apple, and then so then after garden season's over with, we've froze all our blackberries. We've got strawberries in the freezer, things like that. So you can make jam all year, and you don't have to wait till they're in season. You can just freeze it, then make it. So we do that pretty much in the winter and when we're not busy with the garden. And then we also can meat. So you we're going to do some more of that. I'll do a video on that pretty soon once it cools off. It's too hot to be doing all that right now. But when you get ready to clean your freezer out, things like that, you can can meat, and then it's ready for dinner. You can can hamburger meat, chicken. You can do, we do a lot of canned deer. Like bee cubes, things like that. So we're gonna do some of that.
I want to try some meals in a jar, basically. So like
Mhm.
beef stew and things like that as well.
And so I want to be able to go down to my pantry and pick out 3 or 4 vegetables and some meat and make a stew in the wintertime, or a beef stew, or like whatever. So I'm kind of building my pantry towards that. I've also already I've got a video up on that. I made like chicken soup or chicken vegetable soup. Because we do can our own chicken broth and bone broth,
vegetable broth.
Yeah, vegetable broth, whatever. It's super easy. I've already got a video up on that, and I've got 2 on that one. And then we will can, what else we can off season? Jams, guava jam, like I said, strawberries, whatever. We'll do that in the off season too. So that kind of gives you something to do, a little bit longer if you want. If you just want to do jams and jellies, do that. But I've got a ton of jams and jellies. So I don't know how much I'll be doing that this year. But
last fall and winter, when it was cold outside and I just want to be inside, like cleaning my house and stuff like that, I would just start a pot of chicken broth.
Yeah.
Or bone broth or whatever, and let it cook, and then I would pressure can it.
Yeah, I have a video up on that, how easy it is to do that with your leftovers. If you buy rotisserie chicken, or, when you got leftovers, celery and onions and things like that, it's super easy to do that. And
also we froze our tomatoes before because we had an abundance and couldn't get through them, so we froze them and then pulled them out and made the same thing you would typically do with a tomato.
Yeah, but right now, like especially I have a digital pressure canner. Mine does too. And so it makes things a lot easier. It doesn't put off a lot of heat, so you can run it during the summertime. But it's not like hot water bath puts off a lot of heat, and a pressure canner on the stove puts off a lot of heat. So you can freeze stuff and then can it later if it's just too hot in the summertime to do it. Because I know my air conditioner's struggling right now. Like I think it's on 70 and it's saying 72, 73. It's really hot right now. And I've got all the lights off and all the shades closed and stuff like that. It's just really hot right now. So I don't want to be in the kitchen canning and running the oven and all that stuff. So
I like the Presto pressure canner too. Well, you can water bath in it as well, but I have a little girl, and it doesn't get hot on the outside. So if she runs by and touches it, and I have something in it, I don't have to worry about her burning herself.
Yeah, and
which is a big thing for my stove, because if I have like the water bather on the stove and she runs by and touches it.
Yeah, and the only downside, the pressure canner is well worth the money, and I wish I had another one in my kitchen. I'll add one later on,
eventually.
Because they're just awesome. It changed my way of canning when I got that pressure canner, and I've got a video up on that. It explains it, tells you what to do. Jada, if you and your mom don't have one, you should get one, because I know y'all can quite a bit. But it's just changed it. It's changed my canning for me. But they do have a ball hot water bath canner that's electric. So I think I might get that next and try it instead of another pressure canner because it just gets so hot having it on the stove and heating up the house and stuff. But anything else you want to add? If you have any questions, comment, send me a message. If you want us to talk about something else or dive in deeper what we talked about tonight, we'll be glad to do it. We're going to be live on Thursday. I said Thursday. Thursday nights at 6:30. From here on out, Thursday nights just work out better for me. So if you have a topic you want to discuss, you can shoot me a message or comment. We'll be glad to go over it. If you have any questions, whatever, we appreciate all of it. And thanks for joining. I gotta figure out how to end it. Like
Right there.
Still on.
What's it? Try again.
We're learning, y'all. That's what I said last month. It's still on, but it's like.
Hold on. It says. Do you keep that open or no?
Oh, it just kept it open. And Dream and closes Rumble Studio.
Yeah, go for it.
That's what I just did.
But it says select delete
gonna
room.
stay
You
on
have to
here all
force
night.
them to close the room. So go back. Okay, now end and close room. You have to close the room. Now end.
It wouldn't go off last time either. And we're just sitting there, and me and Jack are
It's
going
not
back.
working.
We're like going back and forth. Just shut the whole thing off.
It won't. What in the...
Maybe it just takes a second.
Someone said...
What'd she say?
Magnolia said you can do it.
We're trying.
It won't.
Hi, y'all. You thought you were getting rid of us.
It won't. It says you have to close the room, but then it's not closing.
Just close it out.